Motion to call the, excuse us. Need a motion to call the town board meeting of November 15th, 7 p.m. to order, please.
So moved. Second?
I'll second that motion.
Salute the flag. To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence for the veterans that have served in this country, here and abroad. Thank you. The emergency exits from the back to your left, our right. Roll call, please, Patty.
Councilwoman Reamer? Here. Councilwoman Perotti?
Here.
Councilman Haas?
Here.
Councilwoman Doyle? Here. And Supervisor Flood?
Here. Is there a public notice for this or just a public hearing?
It's a public notice, it's a legal notice, it was in the newspaper. Do you want to read that? Okay.
Here, it's here.
You got it right here?
Oh,
Okay, first thing on the agenda tonight is the public hearing for the 2013 budget. The legal notice was, public hearing will be held on the preliminary budget November 15th, 2012 at 7 p.m. at the Amenia Town Hall, located at 4988 Route 22, Amenia, New York, pursuant to Town Law, Section 108. The proposed salaries for the elected officials are as follows. Supervisor, 22,400. Councilman, 4,5700. Town Justice, 16,728. Town Clerk, 27,000. Superintendent of Highway, 56,490. Sole Assessor, 29,104. By order of the Town Board, Patty Barron, Town Clerk, 11/8/12. Thanks, Victoria. Need a motion to open the public hearing.
Councilwoman Reamer?
Yes.
Oh, need a motion in a second.
Sorry. I'll make a motion.
A motion made by Vicki Doyle and second by?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any public comment?
As always. Part of us were the meeting. There's three things on my mind. I know I only have a couple minutes, so we'll see how far we
Excuse
get.
us on the
Excuse me,
budget?
I don't
On
think
the
that
budget.
microphone's on.
This is on the budget only?
On the
Yes.
budget only?
Yes.
No,
You
this
went-
is a
you went through
public
that-
hearing.
You went through that budget so quickly, my ears are very old, almost as old as the rest of my body. Would you go a little slower? Your numbers didn't make any sense to me. Could you repeat that?
The salaries?
The salaries, yeah. I'm very curious.
Supervisor, 22,400. Councilman, 4 each, 5,700. Town Justice, 2 each, 16,728 each. Town Clerk, 27,000. Superintendent of Highways, 56,490. Sole Assessor, 29,102.
Is there public comment on the budget?
Sharon Kroger. I want to just understand what you did, because you may have already solved the problem that I was concerned about. It looks to me like on the attorney's line on page 2, I, along with others, had been concerned that it had gone up from the 65,000 to the 90, and I think a number of people raised concerns. It looks like you've brought it down again to 65. Now, what I'm hoping is that you are making arrangements with the town attorney that will be more in the nature of a retainer, which encompasses a whole parameter of things, so that you don't get a situation where you're being billed by the hour, and if something comes up, then you're being billed more and more and more, and if there are mistakes made and it gets worse, then you build more and more and more. A lot of towns do get trapped in that kind of a situation, and it appears that you've avoided it, but please tell me the reasoning that you went from the 90,000 to the 65,000.
It was broken out
We were
into
broken
another
out,
line,
Split up.
You go down one more line, you go down
2 more lines.
2 more lines, you'll see special land use attorney, 25,000.
So it's still in there, it's just broken up into
broke it
another
out.
line.
But presumably for different purposes.
Correct.
Thank you. I just wanted to say one thing about the dog catcher situation. I'm hoping that there can be a small town committee that reviews that, not at budget time when we're just at the end of the time frame, but to supervise what indeed is being done for that money and what are the policies you want followed, because I'm not sure that there's real oversight on that one. Okay.
We're actually working with the SPCA now, we're waiting for a contract.
Andy Wheeler, I work for the highway, and I understand I'm not getting a raise this year. And Mr. Flood, you told me that you voted for the raise, but everybody else voted it down on the town board. You told me that right down?
Well, we have
on
two that are yes and 3 that are no.
Okay.
So we've hashed this thing out back and forth, up and down, as to the
And
how to handle it, if we can handle it.
I think we should get a raise. We didn't get one last year, and our insurance goes up. It's not much of a raise, even if it's just 1% raise. At least it it offsets some of the stuff. We keep going, and then we just fall farther back, and I don't understand that.
In the original budget, in the original draft, there was a 2% raise in it. That was taken out, we went down to 1%, and then Victoria voted against it.
Against what?
You voted for the raise.
Yes?
I
Correct.
voted
That's
again.
fair.
Yeah, I just think it's a really tough year. I mean, we've lost sales tax now from the county. So the revenues are not going to be there. And I think, we're all in the same boat on this. So it's not just you. What we're trying to do is preserve jobs. I think that's really important.
I
And
understand that.
that's in my mind, that's what's driving it.
Well,
I have a question for the board, and I don't know if this has ever been done before. Can you do a raise midstream?
We don't have,
It has to be budgeted.
I would think. I mean, we have actually done that midstream because during the revow, we realized how hard the tax assessor and the deputy were working weekends all the time to catch up with the work that John Watch was supposed to be doing, but they caught the ball and it avoided a big disaster. So we did give them a one-time raise in between, a bonus, if you were, and it did require special resolution midway to make sure that would work, but I don't recommend it. I think this is the time to hash out a good, tonight is fine. We need to think about it and make a decision and go with that. Unless there's extenuating, unusual circumstances midway, I wouldn't recommend going that way.
It was just a question. I don't know if you'd ever done, because the elections are over, the economy does seem to be a wee bit better.
Well, but I think to say it was a 3-2 vote, there were different proposals.
Right.
Yeah.
So my concern was I didn't want to give the elected officials a raise. You get voted in knowing what your salary is, and then to ask for a raise, I thought it made sense for the employees, not for the elected officials. I understand there are differing opinions on that. I mean, just to put it in perspective what some of these numbers mean, because I know we've thrown around, insurance might go up 8 to 10% next year, but we don't really know. Well, I pulled some numbers for what employees are currently paying right now and what the increase would be per month. So for a single person right now, it would go up $14 per month. If they're a couple, it would go up about $28 per month. If they're a family, it would go up about $37 to $38 per month.
I have a family.
And you have a family, so yours would go up about $38 per month.
Well, we don't know. we
So,
don't-
but that's a conservative estimate based on if it goes up 10%. So, I mean, it could go up a little more than that, but those are the estimates we're working with for next year, that it could,
Well-
that's what the increases would be.
It looks like, for me, you said it's needs three people to vote. And you say you would vote for at least the town highway people. And Bill said he would, and Vicky said Brody said she would. It looks like that's 3 votes to 5.
Well, the problem is that the last vote was by email. And according to the Committee on Open Government, they have opined there's nothing in the open meeting law that precludes members of a public body from conferring individually by telephone, via mail, or email. A series of communications between individual members or telephone calls among members resulting in a collective decision or a meeting or vote held by means of a telephone conference, by mail, or email would, in the Committee on Open Government's opinion, be inconsistent with the law. So to provide full disclosure, the very last vote or email conversation between all of us regarding whether or not there would be a 1% raise for everyone is this. Councilwoman Doyle, no. Councilman Haas, I do not support the salary increase, especially if it means an increase for elected officials, so I am a no. Supervisor Flood, as much as everyone would like to give raises this year, I think it's best that we wait. Sherry did send the figures, but it was wrong. It is around 7192, which means we have to cut another 7195 from the budget proposed last night. This year we changed the insurance coverage for our full-time employees. We now pick up 100% of their costs of their high deductible, which is an additional benefit for the employees. We will try to continue that program this year. I think we have to consider that a lot of taxpayers are having a tough time, and we have to realize, so that's a no. Councilwoman Reamer, I am a no for this year as well, for raises across the board. And what I said in the series of emails, that I think if we take $7,200 from the additional attorney line, we would be able to give the employees a 1% raise, which would leave $17,800 in that line. The employees are also having a same tough time paying for increased food and fuel costs. We would also have the $65,000 line for town attorney to draw from, especially since there is no reason why he has to be at every meeting. And so basically the very last vote was 4 no's and 1 yes.
It wasn't a vote. There was a discussion on the email.
And
there was a discussion before the emails went out. So you're not telling that part.
Well, hold on a
yes,
second.
but the last
meeting we had, it was the same. There was a discussion on different ways to give a raise.
That's right.
That's
but
correct. That was an email discussion.
But as a result of this email, the bookkeeper was told no raises, which means it's a vote.
There was a vote before that conversation.
Okay.
Well, let's take a vote
I
now then.
digress.
Well,
hold on a second. Before anyone votes, anyone votes on anything,
let's
hold
take
on
a
a
vote
second.
now, and I want.
So just,
and we'll go
again,
across
getting
it.
more information out there. So 1%, just so everyone knows the numbers out there, 1% for everyone, including elected officials, that was going to be a $9,800 increase to the budget. 1% for just full-time and part-time employees, no elected officials, was going to be $7,200. 1% would, just to put in context with insurance, because I know that's one of the big concerns, 1% would there would still be a bit of an increase to those paying insurance for family, but it would basically zero out the increase to health insurance for a couple or for single. So I guess there's two things. Well,
We'll make a motion what you want to do. If you want to
well,
raise it.
can you let me finish, please?
Sure.
Thank you. The other part of this is, instead of just trying to match it, again, understanding the hard time residents are having, understanding the hard time employees are having, I mean, this might not sound like a lot, but if we did 0.5%, that would at least chip away
We're at least
on...
getting 1%, not a half. What's a half?
Well, it's chipping away at the increase you would have.
You know,
I'm just laying out
I
some...
understand what you're saying, but you know what? I've been working for the town for almost 25 years, and I never say nothing. And this is a little too far out of reach now, because I don't like to make waves, but this is, 1% is not a lot of money, and that's all I'm asking for. I'd love 2%, yes, or more, but I would take 1%, and I'd be happy with that. I mean, it's not a lot of money. I mean, I've seen the town waste more money than that. And I don't want to get into that. I'm just talking about the budget. I mean, come on, let's be for real here. I mean, you told me you would vote on it. Bill, you told me that you would vote on it. And Vicky, you told me that you would vote on it.
Well, I did.
And what I told you I would
Every
vote
time.
on, actually, is exactly what I said in the email. I'd consider a raise, a 1% raise, for employees only, no elected officials. I mean, so I'll make that motion right now. I make a motion that we increase salaries for employees only, no elected officials.
1%.
1%.
And that would increase the budget by approximately
So, based on
$7,000.
Sherry's estimate, that would be an increase of $7,200. And right now, it looks like, I don't have my calculator with me, but the increase right now, as far as the tax cap goes with general and highway, it'd be about 0.3%
You were fine with the tax.
increase. So this would push us up towards a 1% increase in taxes.
So we'd be 3 something,
Mhm.
1%.
Yeah, let me get my calculator.
We'd still be under the tax.
We're still under the cap.
We're still under the cap.
A little over 1%, not a big increase. It's this year, it's not this year that we're worried about, it's really the cumulative effect of a raise down the line. It's not just 7,000 this year. Next year it'll be 7,000 plus the raise next year will be, it's cumulative.
Well, the other thing
Goes
is,
up
is it fair to
exponentially.
do it, I mean, elected officials, we're talking Stan, we're talking the town clerk, the tax assessor.
Not the way he put that motion.
Hmm?
He said employees, not elected officials, so you would eliminate Stan from that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
That's what I'm
correct.
saying. Is it fair?
I don't
Well,
think so.
because if we
Really?
add Stan in, then we add in, then the assessor, anyone else who puts in.
Then it's a
So
90
that's why I'm saying if it's employees only, it's clean.
My problem is the morale. I don't know.
Well,
I think- You
I
have people
understand.
working under you who get a raise and you don't get a raise. Not,
Well-
not talking about myself, but I'm
No, I
talking
understand.
department heads. Is there a morale issue there going forward?
Give my guys a raise, not me.
Yeah,
So
see?
they can make more money than me, when I work more than they do.
See, that's
I
a
do a hell of
problem.
a lot more involved than they do. I'm out there 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, they're home in bed. You can ask them, they're here.
No, I agree. This sets up a very bad taste in your mouth for the rest of the year for certain
think-
employees. They wonder why they've been singled out. So I would, if we're going to go with any raise at all, I stand firm that it goes for everybody across the board.
1%.
1%. We could
everybody.
exclude ourselves. We've excluded ourselves on principle for years and years and years. We've stayed at 5,700 for town councilmen. And I don't think it's, at this point, I don't think it's actually reasonable. I think everybody should share in a raise or not anybody share. One or the other. It's a $10,000 item or a zero to me. One or the other, in my opinion.
No one seems to be discussing how you can pay for that raise without
Affecting our bottom line.
getting the money. It's
We are
simple.
within the 10% cap, or the 2%.
Okay, but if you build it into the budget, you find a way to pay for it. It's not that difficult.
It's taxes.
No, it's not necessarily taxes. One of the things that, I don't mean to get into this right now, but one of the things that irritates the most in the last few weeks that I've heard about is closing the town dump. The town dump is a trash can, cat. It's not trash, it's moneymaker.
It's not a moneymaker. It's never made money.
That's because you don't do it right.
It's never been done right since the day it opened.
Maybe not here.
You know what, we're not, hold on, we're not gonna discuss that
Yeah, we're not
tonight.
worried about the dump right now.
We're not gonna worry
This
about
part
the
of
land,
it.
for the waste, the transfer station.
So if everyone got a raise, I mean, we're
It's still
talking
under 1%.
9,000 something, but it doesn't, every 9,000 represent 1% in the overall budget. That's my understanding.
Yeah.
In rough numbers. But we're well within, I mean, it is possible to do that.
I guess the other reason, while I've said no before, that I would like to talk about this a little more is the supervisor has said repeatedly our budget we're going to be in difficult shape next year.
Yeah.
So that means no raise I'm taking that to mean no raise next year, and there'll likely be more insurance increases. So if we have the opportunity to do it this year without a significant increase in taxes, the more I look at it, if we're going to consider it, we better do it now because we're not going to be able to do it next year, even at 1%.
And next year you have all your stuff is due, your landfill.
Well, we're hoping that I'm hoping personally that our sales tax and our mortgage tax starts
coming in.
continuing to upward climb, and that already they've said fewer foreclosures. That's a trend that's continuing, and hopefully some sales. I've talked to different people in housing, and it is starting to move. That makes a big difference in our budget. However, $36,000 out of our county sales tax revenue right off the bat is hard to, it impacts. $36,000 is a lot.
But we've had some increases in revenue in our building department. I mean, it's not, it's a lot more than it has been.
Yeah,
And
that
seems
comes-
to be an upward trend.
I'll amend my motion then, 1% increase across the board, if that'll move this discussion forward.
I'll second.
Any more discussion? And are we ready? I mean, is there any more public comment?
Well,
Yeah.
before we vote on this,
I would
is there any more
rather,
public comment? No. All right, so we close the public hearing, right, then you vote on this thing? Is that what you do? You close the public hearing?
Close the public hearing.
All right, I'll make a motion, we close the public hearing on the budget.
I'll second that motion.
Councilwoman Reamer?
No,
No.
We're closing.
We're closing the
Yes.
public hearing.
no, isn't there anyone else who wants to speak from the department? Yeah, let's hear some more comments.
Well, we gotta open the public hearing back up then.
Well, we didn't,
we
yeah,
didn't
we
discuss
didn't
that.
vote,
We didn't
so.
Finish.
In my 2013 budget, I had in there $9,400 for a piece of equipment, a trailer, which I called Bill and I called Sherry about it last week. And I told him that you can take that trailer out of there right now, out of the 2013 budget, and I got enough money in my 2012 budget to buy that trailer right now. So if you let me buy the trailer out of my 2012 budget, I wouldn't need that in my 2013 budget, but I didn't hear back from anybody. I talked to you and I talked to Sherry. And I really got enough money in my 2012.
But I thought you never said you were gonna buy the thing, did you?
Well, I got to get board permission to buy it.
Right.
And I'll still meet my fund balance for the year.
Any other comments? Going once, going twice.
I need a
Finish the vote.
second, I need a second to close the public hearing.
Second.
I'll second it.
Councilwoman Reamer, we're closing the public hearing.
Yes.
Councilwoman Perotti.
Yes.
Councilwoman Haas.
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle.
Yes.
And Supervisor Fleck.
Yes.
A motion to go back into
Regular.
regular meeting. Who can make a motion? Supervisor Flood
Mhm.
and Supervisor Hoskin second.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you very much.
Before
I'm going to take a roll.
Before any changes are made to this, does that, what does that mean? Do we have to hold another meeting
No.
next week to actually accept the budget, because don't the numbers need to be tweaked in here? If that would be if any changes are made to this tonight.
You could just make the changes tonight
And adopt it.
and adopt the budget as amended.
Okay.
So it's not necessary to have another meeting. You could, if you chose to. You just have to adopt the budget by the 20th.
So basically, we can make changes and then just go ahead and adopt it.
Correct.
Correct. And I think we have to adopt it tonight, the 15th.
Well, you have to adopt it by the 20th.
Right, if you adopt it
Because
tonight,
that's when it has to go to the county.
it has to go to the state first.
Well, that's what the statute says. You have to adopt it by the 20th.
If we adopt this tonight, there's a form that has to be filed for the state of New York by tomorrow morning. So, to make sure that we're in the 2% cap.
So
Once
for
they
the
sign
control.
off, then this thing is, then it goes to the county,
okay.
right?
That I'm not
Right,
sure of.
there
I
is.
know you have, there's a form to,
To make sure you're in the
Fill out
cap.
and
Because
file
if you're
with
not in
the
the cap,
controller.
that money has to come out of this budget and be reserved.
But it has to go before you
correct,
adopt
that's
it.
with the comptroller's office,
Right.
and that would happen.
Right.
Right.
They would let you know. They'll
They'll tell you that you're over,
They'll tell you
And
that
it's
you're
in-
over, correct.
and whatever money's put aside is put aside in an
That's
escrow.
if there's an error. If
Right.
you're under the impression that you're below the 2% cap, but you're actually above it, the comptroller's office will calculate the amount that you're over, and then you're then required to put that money
Money in
aside
escrow.
when you
In escrow.
collect it in a reserve account. And then that money, that amount goes to reduce your starting number for next year.
Next year, correct.
If we're proposing an amendment to the budget, is that a separate motion, or is it a motion with approval of the budget?
You could do it by making a motion to amend the tentative budget
Preliminary.
or preliminary budget, and in the motion state what the change is. Once that change is made, then adopt the budget at the preliminary budget
As amended.
Before you make that motion, if we were to do the 1%, how does it affect the taxpayers? We're at $2.36 per thousand. So we have to look at how it's going to affect the people on the other end. I think that's important.
Their taxes will go up
Right.
about 1%. So if we were paying, $2,500 in town taxes, it will go up 1%.
My math for that was, with the slight increase, it was 0.97%.
So 1%.
Yeah, so approximately one.
But
What if you took that 9,400 out of that?
But I don't think we can move stuff out from your highway equipment fund into there was an issue with it, of moving stuff from a highway fund, equipment in, and then moving that money into the general fund.
It's a wash because if,
Yeah, but
You
it's in
just
his
have-
budget.
it's
This
this
year-
year's.
this
It's
year's
this year's
budget.
budget.
okay.
That's why it's apples and
Right.
oranges.
It's apples and
I
oranges.
think the 1% for my guys is like $3,700.
Yeah, but the total, I think, is
Yeah.
7,200 total, right? Well, it's not,
No, it was $9,856.43
because you get,
for everyone. including elected officials.
And that includes all the, did you talk to Sherry this afternoon, that includes all social security?
No, that was the email she sent
A while back.
when we originally discussed
Okay.
this.
10,000.
So that includes all the withholding and so on and so
Payroll
forth,
costs associated.
right?
That's what she had said.
All right.
I'll make a motion that we amend the preliminary budget to account for an increase of $9,856.43, or a 1% increase for all town employees and elected officials.
Second?
Second.
Councilwoman Reamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Caroti?
Yes.
Councilman Haas?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Flood?
Yes.
Okay.
I would just add that next year is probably
Yeah, and
not going to
that's
happen.
that's why I've changed my tune, and I felt it was worth.
Next year is
doing
going to be
this
a
now.
tough year. I mean, we have that landfill.
Well,
It's $1 million we're going to have to bond out for that, so next year is going to be a tough year. Well, hopefully things will get better. I mean,
Why is
I hope
next
so.
year going to be worse? Did I miss it? Did you
We're-
say why next year is going to be worse?
we have to pay for our cost for the closure
Our
is $1
portion of the
million.
landfill.
For the closure of the landfill is $1 million. It's considerably lower than what we expected, but it's still something we have to pay.
And have we decided how we're going to pay that?
We have to bond it.
We have to bond it out.
We have to bond it. It wasn't our choice, you know, it's, as far as what it would become, I mean, it's a park, that's what we have to do with it.
Isn't there anyone that thinks about how to make money instead of just give it away? I gotta tell you, I'm flabbergasted.
What are we giving away? What do you
You're giving
mean?
away $1 million to closing the town down,
Well,
okay? You have to do it, I understand that.
yeah,
But I don't see any thought process in how to make money. Towns have ability. I spoke with the mayor, I'm not supposed to mention his name, but he's the mayor of a city in Rhode Island who makes, for his town, through trash recycling, over $27,000 a year. Okay? He makes money by renting buildings that the town owns for parties and conventions. He says it's not that difficult, you have to have a business sense. He was a
you
businessman.
need a business sense, right.
about a different landfill. I think we must be clear.
All right, we're going to move on. Any more public comment? Do you have more public comment? 2 minutes, please.
I'll keep it to 2. I'll do the most important one. Well, I'm in possession, somewhere, of a letter that I requested
We have a resolution to...
Yeah,
that all
Yes.
5 of you,
go ahead.
that all 5 of you seem to have a copy of. It's a letter to Clarence Dingy in Willow Lane. And it says that basically that he's been grandfathered in for his purpose of staging gravel and sand on his property. And he was grandfathered in because he's been doing it since 1971. Well, I know, Mr. Flood, that you personally know that he didn't start using that property until 95, maybe 96.
I have no idea.
Obviously, there was no investigation done. If you had talked to his neighbors, you would have found that out. Mr. Fenton had no way of knowing unless he went out and investigated, but you grandfathered him in anyway. This sounds like a trade-off. You give me easement rights, I'll give you a grandfather clause. That's one of the issues. We move on to the Kent gravel and sand mine that you're fighting. There's sand and gravel mines in that area already. Can you explain to me why you're fighting that one so much? I have a vested interest in that. I just assume...
You're the owner?
No, but I have a vested interest.
In our
The reason it irritates me is you have Harlem Valley Materials, not far away from there. You have the two that are on the opposite side of the road.
well, when they redid the zoning, there's a gravel overlay district. They're not in that district. So they're not allowed to
So
mine.
the ones that are operating now are not in,
legal.
are not in the same district?
They're not in the same district.
But, okay, why is it not possible to turn that into that kind of a district? It's a slightly different area,
You can, but
but
you need a
it's,
zoning change.
they seem to be going about this legally.
What?
They seem to be going about it legally.
Who, Kent Hollow?
Kent Hollow? No, not at all.
Through
Not according to
through
all
the
of our
DEC.
lawyers.
No.
Our lawyers think not.
What is it going to do to the town or to that property that the other gravel mines don't do?
It's
The
a-
other gravel mines are either in the soil mining overlay district or they're a pre-existing non-conforming use. So the Kent Hollow is neither. It's not in the district and it doesn't qualify as pre-existing non-conforming.
But it's business to this area. It's money to be made. Again, why can't we rearrange that?
Because they need to request it, and they are saying that they
But
don't
he
need
says he's
to.
going to fight it, and I think the four of you agree with him wholeheartedly.
We're going to fight it unless they
Why
come
are we
in,
fighting it?
because it's illegal. It is illegal.
So let's make it legal for him.
Well, what the town is disputing is DEC's issuing them a permit to operate the mine.
Yes.
When they can't operate legally. Nobody's saying that they couldn't petition the town board to amend the soil mining overlay district, but that would be the process that they would have to follow, and they've not done that.
I will take that back to them. And I'll go from there. I don't necessarily think I'm hearing the whole story from either side at this moment.
Okay.
They're aware of our argument.
Pardon me?
They're aware of our argument of how we feel about this, and they disagree.
But I don't understand how you feel about this, other than it's not in your drawing of the lines.
If it was a
on the-
conforming
on the
use,
map.
they'd be welcome to move forward and operate or apply for operation, but they're not. And they're not interested in bringing it into conformance at this time.
And that's a kind, I don't want to speak out of turn because I don't know exactly the whole story. But I'm going to search.
Yep,
into it.
okay, Dave, that's it.
My
We're
2
done.
minutes are up.
Yep,
Good evening.
Thank you.
thank you.
Oh, by the way, thank you for that. I was given a card, Bill Bondsman. There was no sheriff to check with me. I'm really disappointed in you.
Don't push
Not a
it.
bad idea.
Don't push it.
It's not a bad idea.
Don't push it.
I
See you,
know it's
Dave.
not your budget.
It is in the budget.
Well, I step forward to speak about a much lighter matter. Kevin Casone, Amenia. Since this is the last town board meeting before Thanksgiving weekend, we're going to be doing all the town decorations Sunday instead of Saturday. Sunday, 12:30 to 3:30. The Sunday after Thanksgiving. And Vicki, you'll remember to mention this again at the end of the meeting,
I
so
will.
we'll get the diehards who stay to the last minute. So I just wanted to get it out there. Watch channel 22 for I'm sure the schedule is going to be tweaked a little on what's happening with the parade. Andy Murphy said this is going to be quite a large parade. His exact words were probably close to 4th of July size. between all the fire companies coming and all the floats, but we won't get that number nailed down till Thanksgiving weekend again. It's going to be right up to the edge till the week before, till we know actually who's participating. But before even, there's more time to talk about what's happening in December later, but since this is the last meeting before Thanksgiving, I'll just say it again. Sunday, 12:30, November, I think that's 25th, right? Sunday, November 25th, 12:30 to 3:30, we'll be decorating and cleaning up the whole town. So we got all the usual groups. Anybody new wants to participate, you're welcome. Food, confections, hot drinks, cocoa, coffee, but good camaraderie, come out, join, participate. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Marilyn Noe, Amenia. I sent a memo to CJ and Vicki Doyle, Vicki Perotti, and Darlene regarding asking you to look into those, the cost overruns, the $34,000 and the $18,000 that Mr. Flood mentioned at the last meeting. Have you had a chance to look into those?
The resolutions will be done tonight, as they are normally done at the regular meeting.
Okay, and Victoria, Perotti, you're satisfied with the?
I haven't seen the resolution yet.
Okay. All right.
Sure you are. Okay, that's it for public comment. We have to go back and do this resolution. What's this resolution number?
69.
Resolution number 69 of 2012. The resolution of the town board of the town of Amenia adopting the town budget for the fiscal year 2013. The regular meeting of the town board, Town of Amenia Town Board, held at the Town of Amenia Town Hall on the 15th day of November 2012 at 7 p.m.
Supervisor Flood. Second by
Boss?
I'll second the motion.
Move the following resolution to wit, whereas pursuant to Town Law Section 106, the town supervisor filed a tentative budget for fiscal year 2013 with the town clerk on or before the 30th day of September 2012, and whereas pursuant to Town Law Section 106, the town clerk presented the tentative budget to the town board on or before the 5th day of October 2012, and whereas pursuant to Town Law Section 108, the town board held a public hearing on the preliminary budget on November 15, 2012 at 7 p.m. at the Amenia Town Hall, 4988 Route 22, Amenia, New York, and heard public comment with respect to the same. And whereas the town board of the town of Amenia believes that the preliminary budget has changed, altered, and revised is in the best interest of the residents of the town of Amenia and should be adopted. Now therefore it is hereby resolved that pursuant to Town Law Section 109, the preliminary budget is changed, altered, and revised. It's hereby adopted as the annual budget of the town of Amenia for the fiscal year beginning on January 1, 2013, and that the same shall be entered in the minutes of the town board. The following resolution was voted upon with all councilmen voting as follows.
Should we put as amended in the resolution somewhere?
I think there's language in there that already says that. But if you want, you
But
can.
It says
Yeah.
preliminary budget as changed,
As
altered, and
changed.
revised, and hereby adopted as the annual
So
budget.
that's sufficient. As
That's
long as
sufficient.
what should be done, obviously you want to change it on the budget form,
Correct.
and then that'll get filed with the clerk to be included in the minutes,
Okay,
and that takes care of it.
well, I just wanted to make sure.
Supervisor Flood.
Yes.
Councilman Haas.
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Perotti.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rima.
Yes.
Highway report.
Yeah, we got pretty lucky with the last two storms we had. Sandy, we got real lucky. Thursday, Friday of that week, I had the tree crew in here. We cut down a lot of dead trees. We actually had a big one fall on Perry Corners Road that we didn't expect to fall. So Thursday, Friday of that week, we cleaned up some dead trees, and when the hurricane hit, we had a bunch of little stuff down, but nothing major. A lot of branches down on the mountain roads mainly. So we're pretty busy the next day, just cleaning up a little brush. And everything worked out pretty good. The snowstorm all went pretty good. Everything else is going good. That's all I have. Anybody have any questions or anything?
Where are we with Tower Hill?
Pizza Terrell submitted the plans.
So we're still waiting to hear from SEMO?
Yes, he just did this last week, so.
Okay.
Willow Lane's a mess, as I think everybody knows, but hopefully that gets worked out before the end of December.
Has anybody been there yet?
No.
You hear from Wheeler? No?
No, I'll call him tomorrow.
I'll say thank you for handling the repairs that were needed on the Welcome to Wassaic sign and for helping with our Holiday of Lights program. He's going to bring brush to the town hall and put it on the playground where the sand area is, and we'll have a bonfire back there. So I hope everybody's on board for that because this is our last meeting, and I'll make sure one of the firemen are available, and we do have a water source outside this door, so I think it should be okay. Just want to make sure everybody knows that that's what we're planning to do. And thank you, Stan, for
Wilbur
helping
burnt
you.
your brush yesterday, but we'll get you more.
But you'll get some more brush.
We'll get you more.
There's plenty brush, I'm sure.
I would just like to mention too, the Christmas trees are tagged at Gromax for the veterans area. It's about a 12-footer. And then there's another one for the town hall here inside.
Right.
So they're all tagged, and you can go anytime and cut them.
He doesn't yet know that we've volunteered him to do that. But
Well,
what,
you
I
did-
mean, you put a tag, a
There's a tag
surveyor
on them.
tape or something?
It says, yeah, it's a big tag that said veterans, and then the other one says Santa's Workshop,
That's, the veterans one is for Fountain Square.
Fountain
Right.
Square.
Are the lights on at
What's
Fountain
the other
Square?
one for?
Here.
Here in the
Here?
town hall, not Santa's
Yeah.
Workshop, but in fact the gym, because I think we already have a little one for town hall here.
I
But
think
at any rate, if you could get both of them delivered, one to Fountain Square, the one that says veterans, and the other one here into the gym, that would be great.
We're gonna put it in the gym?
That's what I planned. I think that they already have the library already has a tree and all their decorations. They said not to worry about, unless you have a different
They have
bit of
what?
information. The Santa's Workshop has its own tree, so I need it in the gym.
Oh, okay.
That would be great.
Okay.
You want this done tomorrow? We probably could grab it.
Done tomorrow. Can we have it tonight? No, just kidding. Yeah, if you can get it to us by our Sunday of Thanksgiving decorating day, that would be great. But if you can't, we understand. It's
Yeah,
just,
we could do it tomorrow, I'm saying.
that'd be great. That would be great.
Somebody has to show us where they want them, though.
Okay.
Yeah, they're very graciously, Kip, I talked with him today, and he's very happy to donate the trees. He's donating one to Smithfield Church, too, so.
Okay.
So what time? You just give me a call at work, and I'll meet you down here. Is that all right?
Okay. What time you
I
want to be
need
here?
20 minutes to get here.
Okay, I'll give you a call once we get them
Yeah.
cut.
Okay.
Okay.
Vicki, is it okay to have a live tree in a building?
The fireman, Andy, said it was fine. He didn't know of any reason why we couldn't have a live tree.
Okay, town clerk report.
I just want to say that hunting season starts on Saturday, so be careful.
Discussions, Ridgecrest Farms.
I'll just mention while we're waiting, is that the CAC is going to be just looking individually over the Ridgecrest documents. And all of our comments are just going to go to Dave Reagan, and Dave Reagan is going to consolidate the comments, and it'll go to the town board and also to the DEC. So CAC is
your
preparing
comment?
its own response
Okay.
by the deadline, which is the
23rd.
23rd, and we are going to get our comments to him by the 21st. So.
I sent a draft letter to board members, basically just to attach the conditions that were attached to the letter that was sent regarding Kent Hollow mine. This mine, as I think everybody knows, is within the soil mining overlay district. Nevertheless, you can still make comments to DEC, and you can request that DEC impose conditions, and that's what that's what I'm doing in the letter, is asking them to not oppose the application, but asking DEC to impose the conditions that we would like on the application.
And have we decided what those conditions are, if there are any?
I attached them to the letter, and they're the same as, I tailored them to this particular application.
Okay, I
But-
just didn't know if everyone agreed with those conditions.
Yeah,
I think it's important to have consistency,
Yeah.
as Nina pointed out, to have,
The same as,
yes, I think.
as we did for Kent.
For Kent
Yes.
Hollow.
Okay.
Right.
and just so everyone knows what we're talking about, the proposed conditions relate to mine limit setbacks, need for barriers to restrict access to the site, dust control, hours of operation, reclamation, floodplains, road use agreement. That's zoning was in here, but that's not really a condition because they're recognizing that they need to come to us for a special use permit.
Correct.
Why do we always say that the traveled ways would be identified by the applicant? I mean, they're going to submit their idea of where to travel, because the idea was to keep them off of the hamlet roads and onto the bigger roads, the shortest distance to Route 22 and bigger highways. It's in our comprehensive plan.
Which condition is that in?
It's under road use agreement, for instance. The applicant would be required to enter into a road use agreement with the town of Amenia to address any damages from heavy traffic traveling to the mine. The agreement would require input from the town's highway superintendent. Among other things, the agreement would require the traveled ways would be identified by the applicant. That's what bothers me, is that they are allowed to decide where they want to travel
Can we say
rather
that
than
would
us.
Propose with
The shortest way route feasible, and we talked about them improving that bridge
Well,
on
our
Wassation
zoning says
Road.
that.
I know, but
Right.
I think we need to not tell the DEC.
There are no town roads there.
I thought that they could travel through there, they could create an internal road and put it out on Kent Road.
That's a county road.
I know, but that's our hamlet. That's part of the South Amenia hamlet.
Yeah, you're talking about, we don't
Kent,
understand.
well, it's a 180-acre parcel that's literally across the street from the 10 Mile River train station. So they have applied, they've done everything right legally, but at this juncture, it seems like we should use all of our ammunition to say where we want, if we are allowed to. And it says it in our town zoning that we prefer them not to win their way through our historic hamlets, but instead find the shortest route. Now that means that they're probably going to have to reinforce that bridge, putting them out on Sin Patch Road, which is just a short distance, and then they're up on Route 22 and they're out of our hamlets.
I can change the language that's in that condition. This is what was submitted for Kent Hollow. But I think you should understand, this is part of one of the requirements of the agreement would be to require the applicant to do a pre-project road analysis. And that's what that's referring to.
So they're going to
would
present
have
to us? Okay.
Correct.
And then we have a chance, they have input from the highway
Correct.
and input from us.
It would be an agreement, so
Okay.
Could we just add in then if, and something like the traveled ways would be identified by the applicant and agreed upon by the town of Amenia?
Sure.
With that, just to make sure it's clear what we're,
It really doesn't feel like we should,
DEC never knows what's going on unless you tell them, because the applicant doesn't.
right. We went through this carefully when we met at the site.
well, I guess my feeling for this one is that I remember when the town went through that and there was an agreed upon travel way. So I mean, not to assume that this applicant will do everything perfectly, but assuming that they're still agreeing to do that, I think it would just,
Naturally happen that way.
it seems to me that considering that was the basis for the zoning amendment, that they agree to reroute traffic and rebuild the bridge? Is that?
Well,
is that
they'll
where-
have to do whatever they need to do. I think at the time, they were saying whether or not that was structurally capable of handling the truck
Yeah,
traffic.
they-
And it was gonna cost some money, there's no doubt to.
Yeah, they were going to
clean it.
shore up the bridge. That was part of the whole thing.
It goes under flooding, and there's some issues with it, but I think we want them to do whatever's needed to keep them out of our historic hamlets, which,
I mean, as long as it's clear we're agreeing to it, I mean, it makes sense to me to allow them to propose the route as long as we then have sign off on what that route is, rather
the
than,
language you're referring to is part of this pre-project road analysis. There's nothing there that says that whatever roads the applicant picks are the roads that they get to use.
okay,
And keep in mind, too, that they, in order to operate the mine legally, this applicant has to come before this board for a special use permit.
okay.
So these issues can be discussed at that time as well.
That's one reason why we put this mine in the soil mining overlay, because it was a short distance from 22.
Right.
And that was one of the conditions of being in the soil mining overlay, that it wouldn't be going through Wassaic, it wouldn't be going,
Use strong language then.
Yes.
And right to tell DEC and we can go along with it.
yes, they have to follow the, I mean, it's in our master plan, I don't have that with me.
I know
but
there
we
was a
talked about it.
concern by some of the residents on Sin Patch Road that
But
the
it's-
trucks would be going on that
Yeah,
road.
and the soil mining overlay indicated it would be the closest route to 22, and it's not through Sin Patch. I mean, they're briefly on Sin Patch, and then they're
Yeah,
out of the neighborhood. So that was one of the criteria that allowed them to be in the soil mining overlay. So I think we need to have that in there, that it refers back to our comprehensive plan, that's why they're in the soil mining overlay. And that might reinforce why the other one is not in the soil mining overlay. I mean, we looked at everything, so.
Everybody okay with this?
yeah.
You want to, what do we have to vote to adopt this, or just to send the letter?
I'll just send it. You
Okay.
can-
Well, the only other thought I had is this crushing thing gonna happen also as part of this?
on
So that
site.
crushing thing is right across the street from Ralph Yale, and on Saturday mornings, I mean, I wonder what the noise level is
Well,
gonna be.
one of
I
the
don't think
conditions
that
we're
Saturday
proposing
morning
is
is a
that
good
they operate only Monday through Friday.
Yeah,
The applicant is proposing to operate on Saturday mornings as well.
okay, so we're not saying,
No, we're
Okay, I thought I had
proposing
seen
as
it.
a
Okay.
condition that it be restricted to Monday through Friday,
okay,
and 8 to 5 as opposed to 7 to 5, which is
Okay.
proposed by.
and I would think as part of the special use permit will require them to do a noise analysis so that,
Well, I mean, they have the right to do this, right? But not to
But that-
exceed, I mean, that gravel crushing thing is gonna exceed. I think it's pretty close to the road, isn't it?
but that's related to the use we'd be permitting. So, I mean, that would give us
Some leverage.
some leverage to make sure that they, restrict the hours to reasonable hours and make sure that there isn't noise leaving the site that's above a certain decibel level. I mean, it's a discretionary approval, so that would, it gives us that leeway to push for those,
Accommodations.
to push for mitigation if there would be noise impacts.
Yeah, in the application for a special use permit, you can consider these issues and impose conditions that would be appropriate to.
And there'll be public hearing as part of that special use permit?
You do have to have
There
a
would
public
be
hearing, correct?
some opportunities for residents to understand and comment on there. Okay.
Is this still Ridgecrest you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's a big operation. They now own all of Harlem Valley materials and this new Ridgecrest. So it fronts on the whole section
You
between,
mentioned Ralph Gale, how could it be?
because Kent Road fronts on Harlem Valley materials. That's where they're crushing and their stone processing is right on Kent Road. And he owns contiguous land that goes all the way to 10 Mile, towards the 10 Mile River. So he owns this giant chunk. And what we want to do is make sure he doesn't overuse the Kent Road, South Amenia, further deteriorating our historic churches and such, that they go out
Right.
onto that short stretch of Sin Patch.
The roads going the other way, the trucks can't pass each other. It's too thin. I mean, if you went on into Wassaic or even under the railroad bridge, you can't pass those trucks on those roads.
Well, presumably, and he assured us when we gave him the option of adding into this overlay zone, we granted that based on his consideration that that was an appropriate access for his trucks out on Sin Patch Road.
So it's contingent. Oh,
Contiguous.
contingent. No, I mean, it's,
Oh,
his
contingent.
getting this is contingent, as Darlene said. That's very powerful, what you said.
Yeah, and they must be connected internally, the Harlem Valley and
You gotta
the
make it
original
stick.
part.
You gotta make it stick so that the permit people
Yeah.
at DEC get it.
They should find a way to connect the two. They shouldn't come out the Harlem Valley Materials
Oh,
entrance.
they
because
will. I mean, that was the thought. They'd make an internal road to connect these two parcels across.
But they would exit on the other side, on
Yes.
Sin Patch, not on,
That should be
Kent.
stated in that letter.
yeah. They shouldn't use that other one because that's the whole issue from the
But
beginning.
you're just getting into this process with this.
Yeah.
This is just starting, so this is just a letter that we can send to the DEC. They still have to, well,
Well, I think they still have to go back to the original access
correct.
inlet and
You still have to issue the
outlet.
permit,
I mean, I can,
Right. But if they know ahead of time,
right.
it
I
would be
mean,
helpful.
This is really about conditions that they'll actually allow to be attached to a permit
this
at
is
this point.
just the DEC permit.
Correct.
But I can propose a condition that would restrict the route that the trucks would have to take.
The exiting trucks would have to exit.
What this is saying is just that it would require a road use agreement, which I suppose in that agreement you could do the same thing.
Let's say it early
So-
upfront and,
Okay.
yeah, early
So,
and upfront. I think.
Require egress through St.
At their
Patch
main
Road
facility.
to
They,
Route
I mean,
22.
they
That
have
was the
trucks to
condition
make
for
their own
us.
roads here, so let's do it early
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
So what would the
Egress through St. Patch Road to Route 22.
As agreed upon in prior conference or something, so that they see they've already.
As agreed upon in the prior zoning amendment to bring this property into our soil mining overlay district.
then for ingress, is there another route that you want?
Was it?
I think all truck traffic should be
Yes.
limited to
So it should
coming
ingress and
in
egress?
and going.
Okay, ingress and egress then.
All of it should be out on the Sin Patch Road.
So saying 22 to Sin Patch for
Yeah.
ingress.
I guess if they're heading to Connecticut, I don't know how that affects.
Well, they agreed to that.
They're gonna
I mean, it
have to
doesn't-
use Sin
yeah.
Patch Road.
Yeah,
That's
so-
all I can say, is that they're gonna have to use Sin Patch Road, because that does not go through the historic hamlets that we've identified as being fragile.
Ian, I have one other question for you that really has to do with this application, but not what we're working on right now. One of the issues we seem to have is reclamation of soil mines. Are we allowed to attach a performance bond or a surety to an approval so that we make sure that it is actually reclaimed properly instead of just abandoned with rusting machinery and whatever other issues people have had over the time with soil mines that are not quite dead, but dead?
As part of the...
This is not so much for this, but but in thinking
there
about
would
the
be
future approval that the town will have to give them, I think that's something, I'm just curious if we can attach that to an approval.
The interesting thing that I've been seeing in these applications, or these DEC wording, is that both applicants propose to do only 5 acres of mining, reclaim it before moving on. So they would have, that's the difference I am seeing between what has happened here in the past versus current. And that it seems like DEC themselves is recognizing the reality that they need to show a proven track record. They're not going to mine everything out and then declare themselves bankrupt and go out of town. And then we have to, go after the money and effort to reclaim it. It's 5 acres at a time, as I recall. They would fully reclaim it before moving on to the next and getting their next. Whether or not DEC, follows through on that, I don't know, but I understand that's one of the insurance policies that we'd have. But I agree.
Well, if you had a surety, then that would really make sure that after 5 acres, they don't just go away, that it is reclaimed before they continue.
Right.
Okay, we also have that letter?
Yeah, I think so. Just one quick point. Your zoning law sets forth the conditions that you can impose on the special use permit. And one of the conditions is enforcement of reclamation requirements. This is contained in any DEC permit. So I'd have to look into, because it goes on to say you can impose any conditions limited to the following, or otherwise permitted under New York State law. So you probably can impose a condition like that.
Or at least they could offer one.
Correct, if anything they agree to, certainly.
Okay.
Above and beyond, but we only have the power to influence in certain areas.
In your zoning law, you do restrict the conditions, but then, leave it open a little bit by just saying that unless the laws of New York State allow any additional conditions. So I'm assuming that, generally in a special use permit, you can impose conditions that are reasonable. That seems like it would be a reasonable condition. So I'd have to look into it, but probably can do it.
But these comments, or this letter has to be there by the 23rd.
Correct.
Yeah, this is more for future, it's something I'm starting to think about.
What you're talking about would be as part of an application for
to the town.
Use permit, right.
But it would be good to know now, sooner rather than later, if that's something we could tack on to an approval.
Main Street grant, has anybody got anything to say about that?
Did we set a time when we're going to go through that as a...
No, want to pick a date?
We need to pick a date, and we need to have we were going to have the building inspector also present at the meeting when we had discussions.
Well, I think this week is impossible for me, this coming week. It would have to be the end of November, toward that last week of November is fine for me, either Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday.
That's 26, 27,
Yep.
28.
Any of those 3 days.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
I'm not going to be involved, so.
So is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the final week of November possible? We need
I'm
to get,
flexible, so you can,
Yeah, which
you
is,
two can come up with a date. I'll be there.
Tuesday is good.
Tuesday the
Yes, 'cause
27th?
basically, it's just the three of us, I
Yeah,
guess.
and
And the
Fenton.
building
Right,
inspector.
but I mean,
Does he
from
have
our-
a regular hours on Tuesday? Anybody know his hours?
Yeah, I think he's here Tuesday.
Okay, why don't we try for Tuesday at 5? Is that possible? Is that too
Oh,
tight?
I'm recusing myself from
Oh,
this,
right,
so.
okay. Tuesday at 5?
Yeah.
On the 27th?
Yeah.
Want me to talk to him? Because, I see him pretty often.
That'd be great.
I'll talk to him.
So 5 o'clock here.
Yes.
Right.
And he would be the only one, but Mike Haggerty would be here too, right? Or not?
That's a good point. Yeah. would
Yeah, I
think-
can check with,
You're going to
Okay.
check with him?
I'll check with Mike.
Yeah, well, good luck on that one.
Oh, he can't probably meet on a Tuesday.
No, he works most of the time.
Oh, he works on Tuesday?
I think he works every day, pretty much.
Well, I think we need to get together and have a discussion about them.
Well, I'll have the discussion with him, and he can arrange time off.
That
But
would be
does he
nice.
work on Thursdays? Because I could do
No
a
idea.
Thursday, the 29th.
I
if
can't.
that- Oh,
No. Yeah, we have our Christmas concert December 1st, and I'll be
Okay.
decorating Smithfield Church. So
okay.
I'm really, towards the end of that week, I'm really tight.
So can we get that advertised as a special meeting? Because that would be 3 of us meeting. It's 5 o'clock on the 27th. Can we get that on channel 22 too?
The 27th you want to meet?
Yep.
22nd is Thanksgiving, that's Thursday, that's when our paper comes out. So I think you've missed the boat on that.
Oh, for getting it advertised?
Mhm.
Oh, because it's Thanksgiving weekend?
Yep. It can go on the television, it can go on the wall,
Yeah, you post it.
okay? Right? Okay, so we'll go on the TV and...
And I also believe the Hometowner has a website they can put things on too. I don't know how many people access it.
Okay.
Okay?
Mhm.
Snow plowing bids, legal notice to bidders. The town of Amenia is now accepting bids for snow removal from the sidewalks and the Amenia Wasake locations. Season is from November 1st, 2012 to April 1st, 2013. All bids must be received by noon on November 15th. Location specifications can be picked up at the town clerk's office Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 2. Patty Barron, town clerk. We received one bid. It's the Town of Amenia, proposal in accordance with specifications for winter sidewalk maintenance, unassigned, having principal place of business at 10 Lee Lane. Bid amount number is $16,500. And the bidder is Al Smith and Sons Excavating, Dover Plains, New York.
So we just have to make sure he has insurance?
He sent his non-collusive bidding insurance certificate. Last year he did not have insurance, the correct insurance. So that's what we will have to do if you want to accept this bid. Make sure he's got insurance.
I'm sorry, I missed how much it is.
$16,500.
Is that within our budget? I can't remember.
It's at the end of it. It's a high end of it.
16,000, yeah.
It's high.
I don't think we have any time to rebid, do we? Suppose we have to if they don't have insurance.
What's it normally run, Stanley? Does it run that much?
Can't quite remember. I don't think so.
Well, I think he's on the high. I think last year was like 10, 12,000.
12 is usually where we
Right.
are. But we've added more to it, right? We've had.
No, it's the same
No,
as
it's the same.
last year.
Okay.
We only had one bidder?
Yes.
You want to take a chance and read, what's the date today? November?
15th?
You want to take a chance and rebid it?
What I normally do is call some bidders up.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be advertised in the paper next week.
Well, I think the
So-
local paper, I think you're wasting their time, but I think it's got to go in like the Poughkeepsie Journal or something like that, so we can get it in there, and then you'll get more bids. You know, the local papers are,
But I think Stan's right, just giving a call, maybe setting another time. I mean, there's only a certain number of companies that do that, that would bid. Northwest, I mean, who?
I did call them.
Oh, you did, and they didn't,
No,
they didn't want to do it. Oh. Who else did you call?
just them. Because Al Smith and Northwest
Yeah,
are usually.
they
the
usually
ones.
do it.
Yeah, the budget for the 2012 budget is 16,000.
I'll make a motion, we rebid it.
Or we can extend the bidding time. Can we?
Well, today was the deadline
Yep.
to submit, so you should, follow that. You could contact Al Smith and see if he would reduce his
Oh.
price. But,
Yeah, that's an
I would-
option, negotiate.
I mean, this is under the threshold for, you're not required to bid it unless it's, your procurement policy requires you to solicit bids.
2,500.
Anything over 2,500?
Yeah, but it's a professional service, I'm not sure.
I don't think
No.
it's a
Doesn't
professional
qualify?
service.
No, it's
Okay,
a,
then we have to
Um,
bid it.
But I would rebid it, that's the,
That's the easiest way to do it. And I think we should probably advertise it in the Poughkeepsie Journal. It's
You
going to
don't
cost a
wanna-
little bit more money, but
You don't want to talk to Al and see if he'll come down?
I'll talk to him, but we'll see.
Well, he could submit another bid. I
Right.
mean, if we're opening up the bids, he could, opening it up for other bidders, he could come back with a lower price. Otherwise, Stan's going to be doing sidewalks.
Next year.
Okay, when did you want that to go in the paper?
Monday. We here Monday?
Yes. So, okay, hold on. You wanted to go in the paper on the 26th, that Monday?
Why not?
that when you want it in?
On
We
the
have to do another
26th.
legal notice, right?
Can't we do it sooner?
Yeah, can it go in next?
I mean, if it's
I
a,
don't,
You
this is the
don't- you're not
Poughkeepsie Journal, I
required
don't
to,
really
'cause
deal
it's
with them, I
not-
have no
you're not
idea.
Required
Thanksgiving
under
is-
the general
Yeah, we got
municipal law
Thanksgiving in the
to
mix.
We don't have to do
advertise.
another, yeah, we don't have to do
So
another
you-
legal notice. We could do a classified.
Yeah, you can do it, whatever is consistent with your procurement policy,
Well, that's usually a legal notice.
legal notice. You want to do it in a way that's going to solicit bids, so you want it to be effective.
Usually we put a big black box around it, it costs a little bit more, but if we're
Yeah.
desperate, we usually do that. We need to get it in quick.
Well, you can do the Poughkeepsie Journal on Monday, right? And then you can still do the Millerton News on Monday also, correct?
And you can
But
always
that's not gonna
send
come out
it
till the
to
29th, the Millerton News. If
Well,
I-
that's right, because it's late.
contractors that you think would submit bids. You could just send it to them.
Well, yeah, or we could, well, Stan, you were going to call a few people?
No. Who would you call?
but we could put it in the 19th. I mean, why does it have to be so far away?
Well, we're not meeting anyway, so we couldn't.
Well, how can it go
Well,
in
we'd
on
have,
the
we'd have to have a
19th?
special meeting, but
If-
you're not
how-
back in till Monday anyway
That's
to
it.
do this.
So we can't go in on Monday because I don't come back to work till Monday.
Well, Tuesday. I mean, the sooner the
So,
better.
well, so
We don't
Monday,
have
can
to
you
wait
find
till
out
the
how soon they'll
26th.
Yeah, I don't know
publish it?
how they do that. I don't know how much notice the Poughkeepsie Journal actually needs.
I think it's a
With-
question of money.
Well, it's
They'll
not
make the
cheap.
space.
I know. I'm not sure how much notice they want from
They
you.
need a few days.
Do they need a few
Probably, it's
days?
probably like 3 or 4
Depends on
days.
how much space they have, but,
And are we putting this in the legal or just an ad, a want
Has to
ad?
be legal.
Probably legal notice.
You want it in the legal
Yeah.
notice, so that's gonna cost more too. All right, I'll call them on Monday, the 19th, and see how soon we can get it in.
And what's the date you want to have, what's the date we have to have it in by?
We don't have to have it in
Soon.
by any date.
It's
Sooner
not
the
when we
better.
want to open them. I think we, have a
The
special
following
meeting.
week,
Hmm?
week after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So how about the 6th? How about if we want them in by the 5th, and you can talk about them on the 13th?
No, we got to do it before that.
Okay,
We'd have to have a
Well,
special
I think it depends. If they can get it in next week and it's advertised next week,
Mm-hmm.
28th or 29th,
Yeah.
Well, you're not gonna be back till the 13th.
we'll have
We
a
don't
special
have to. We
meeting.
have a special meeting.
But we could have a special meeting the week of the 3rd.
Yeah. We're pushing
And that
our
would,
luck on
and
the
that
snow.
would be, yeah.
I'll be away the 3rd through the 5th, but you can have one without me. That's fine.
So you want to see what we have by the 29th?
I think we should aim for the 29th and not let it leach into December.
Okay.
So you wanna have a special meeting on the 29th. 7 o'clock, what time do you wanna do that?
6 a.m.
Well, when would we be doing we can do an early morning, it's fine with me. Not that early. I'm up anyway.
Well, we'll
What
come
time
to
do
your
you,
house, but
what time do you come in?
We've had them at like at
That's not your
7:30.
business.
7:30 in the morning is fine with me.
That's not,
Well, we can keep, if it's late.
how about
I mean, we
9
can-
a.m.? How about that? How about the
It's too late.
29th at 9
Yeah, I
a.m.?
can't do it that late.
Oh, wait, you have to go to work, right?
If we do it at 7:30, I mean, we can keep the minutes if we're really just opening bids and
Yeah.
making a
I
motion.
mean, that would only be for that. It would
Yeah.
be very short.
So 29th at 7:30.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Works for me.
All right, so we need to get this ad in by the 22nd, so that's a week ahead at least. And the 22nd, of course, is Thanksgiving. Right, Ian?
Yes, it is.
Decide 7:30.
22nd is Thanksgiving.
On the 29th.
Yeah, so
Oh, the
that's...
29th,
Uh,
that's a set.
you
Oh,
should.
I'm
Thursday.
sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, for practical reasons,
Well, I'm
you
gonna-
want it to be at least a week.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right, I'll call them on the 19th, and hopefully they can get it in. Maybe they can get it in the 21st or the 22nd, or the 20th.
If there's a delay, we can always push it back, but
Okay, let's see what happens. All right?
Mike, can you put that on get the dates from Patty, put that on Channel 22 also, maybe we can get some local people from that. Thanks. Resolutions, transfer of funds, while doing snow plowing. What resolution are we at,
We're at 70.
The transfer fund.
No, I didn't.
I didn't get it either.
huh?
We
We
didn't
don't
get,
have
we
the
didn't get
transfer
copies of that.
funds.
I think it has the dance program in there.
Do you want to make copies for them?
Who doesn't have it?
I don't.
None of us.
None of us.
I mean, we can well,
We can
we
share,
we
I
can
mean,
share if
really.
you just want to make 2 copies. Well, we don't have
Read
enough
it,
to.
I mean,
Make a
it wasn't
copy
sent
for
to
each.
us, though.
Yeah. Well, while we're waiting for
I checked my
that,
email right
numbers.
before.
I have a question on the cleanup that was done on Lango Road. John Fenton was asking, can the cost of that be added to the tax levy? He needed something in writing, I think.
Yeah, I spoke to him
Oh, you did? Okay.
this afternoon,
Oh, okay.
and
'Cause I saw him
I
this
looked
morning.
into it. The answer is yes, you can.
Mhm.
The question is, how do you do it? Your local law does provide that, you know, the town, if the property owner does not do the cleanup, the
Mhm.
town can do it and then charge
Charge it
the
back to
property owner
tax.
and use any means permitted under the law to collect the money. So what I think you would need to do, because there's a due process issue, you have to give some kind of notice to the property owner that that's what you're going to do. So a letter from John saying, this is how much it costs, we did this, it costs X number of dollars. You know, you
The
must
problem
pay
is
the
that
town.
this guy
within-
has no address. That's
I
part of the
know,
problem.
it's
So-
contacting him. But
I did email his attorney yesterday, the day before, actually, we were working with him for a while because the property's being sold,
right,
to clean it up. So, maybe we can reach out to his attorney again and see if we get the thing done.
well, what I would do, I'll talk to John, have him send a letter
To the attorney.
to the owner and the attorney,
Okay.
saying it costs this
Well, the address
amount of
the
money.
owner has is an abandoned building.
I would still send it.
I mean, he has a box
Yeah.
number, I guess.
Thank you.
Because then you can
Yeah.
say that you sent it.
And then there's a
the fact
record
that
of it.
he's not there is not your problem.
You're welcome.
And then, you know, give him 30 days to pay it. If he doesn't pay it, then town board would have to adopt a resolution to,
Do we have to
Levy.
give him 30 days?
I would do that. There's, I did some
Is
research
that
on
the
it.
part of the due process?
Yeah, you have to give them some kind of notice that you're gonna do this and some opportunity to pay it himself. And 30 days seems like it would be
Okay.
reasonable. And then the board would adopt a resolution, assuming he doesn't pay, to have the receiver of taxes levy on the tax bill. And then another thing to consider would be to amend, the local law just says, any means, you know, you can use any means available under the law to collect the money.
Did you get this one?
At some point, you might want to consider amending that to put a specific
Patty,
procedure
Can you make
in
copies of that one
for
too?
levying on the
So they
tax.
know what to
I don't
expect.
think so.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think it's okay to do it even though it's not in there. It is permissible. There's a case law that says you've got the authority to do it. But you've got to give notice. And then I would do a separate resolution, assuming they don't pay, where you direct the tax collector to levy on the tax assessment, or on the tax bill.
Okay.
One thing with this, the snow plowing bids, if you're gonna, I would make a motion, just do a quick motion to reject the bid that was received and to re-advertise for bids.
Okay. I'll make a motion to reject the bids from Al Smith in the amount of $16,500, and that we rebid at a later date.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Hi, Tara. I'm in a town board meeting. I'll call you back. Okay, bye.
Okay, what's this resolution number?
70.
70?
The transfer, that's 70.
Whereas the town board has the authority to transfer funds when necessary and unanticipated to amend the budget, and whereas the town budget line 2770.1 unclassified revenues requires an increase in the amount of $39,466.79 received from the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, NYSERDA, and whereas the town budget line 16204.1.136 building CE HVAC requires an increase in the amount of $34,613 for the purchase of energy efficiency upgrade, and whereas the town budget line 14404.1.00 engineer CE requires an increase in the amount of $4,853.79 for the purpose of energy efficiency upgrades, whereas the town board line 2770.19 unclassified revenues requires an increase in the amount of $41,600 received from the state of New York for the Wasatch Trail to train, and whereas the town budget line 80204.1.102 planning CE planning rail trail requires an increase in the amount of $41,600 for the purpose of WSP sales engineering services, whereas the town budget line 13304.1.47 tax collector CE requires an increase in the amount of $893.96 for the purpose of tax collector tier 2 software, and whereas the town budget line 13302.1 tax collector EQ requires a decrease in the amount of $893.96, whereas the town budget line 35104.1 dog control mileage requires an increase in the amount of $226.75 for the purpose of mileage, and whereas the town budget line dog control CE veterinary requires a decrease in the amount of $200, and whereas the town budget line 35104.1.42 dog control board strays requires a decrease in the amount of $26.75, whereas the town budget line 3389.1 state aid public safety requires an increase in the amount of $1,795 received from the state of New York JCAP grant for the Justice Court, and whereas the town budget line 1104.1.65 Justice CE office supplies requires an increase in the amount of $1,795 for the purpose of office supplies, whereas the town budget line 2089.1 other cultural recreation requires an increase in the amount of $2,600 received from the Berkshire Taconic Community Foundation for our dance program, and whereas the town budget line 71504.1.32 rec facilities CE instructor requires an increase in the amount of $2,600 for the purpose of dance instructor fees. And whereas the town general fund 200.1 increases due to the maturing of CD number 10026 from 20011 wastewater engineering in the amount of $5,007.62. Whereas the town budget line 80204.1.103 planning CE wastewater engineer requires an increase in the amount of $5,007.62 for the purpose of engineering services. Whereas the town budget line 80104.1.040 zoning CE actuary support requires an increase in the amount of $400 for the annual software support and maintenance. And whereas the town budget line 80101.1.00 zoning PE personal service requires a decrease in the amount of $400. Whereas the following town budget lines need to be increased. Line 13104.1.0 Director of Finance CE actual report requires an increase in the amount of $410.75 for the purpose of CPA personal services. And line 85104.1.36 Community Beautification Fountain Square requires an increase in the amount of $2,744.61 for the work completed on Fountain Square. And line 16204.1.62 Buildings CE Maintenance requires an increase in the amount of $356.42 for the purpose of floor covering downstairs. And line 16204.1.50 Building CE Copier requires an increase in the amount of $47.50 for the purpose of copier services. And line 16204.1.54 Building CE Electrical requires an increase in the amount of $10,970.40 for the purpose of electrical work for the NYSERDA grant. And line 16704.1.62 Central Print Mail Legals requires an increase in the amount of $136.04 for the purpose of legal ads. And line 12204.1.48 Supervisor CE Conferences requires an increase in the amount of $170.93 for the purpose of mileage expenses. And whereas the town budget line 19004.1.49 Special items CE contingencies requires a decrease in the amount of $14,836.73, whereas the town budget line 13554.1.129 assessors CE data collection requires an increase in the amount of $162 for the purpose of data collection services. And whereas the town budget line 13554.1.48 assessors CE conferences requires a decrease in the amount of $162. Whereas the town budget line 36202.100 safety inspection requires an increase in the amount of $250 for the purpose of dual band radio. And whereas the town budget line 36204.1.63 safety inspection CE mileage requires an increase in the amount of $265.43 for the purpose of mileage. And whereas the town budget line 36204.1.51 safety inspection CE dues requires a decrease in the amount of $515.43. Whereas the town budget line 71401.1 playground recs requires an increase in the amount of $436.25 for purpose of personal services. And whereas the town budget line 71104.100 Amenia Park requires a decrease in the amount of $436.25. Now therefore be resolved that the town board authorize the transfer of necessary budget lines to pursue the transaction. Motion made by Supervisor Flood.
Second by
Second.
Councilwoman Perotti.
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle.
Yes. I wondered if we could have discussion, but I know we're in the middle of this. I just had a question about the $10,970 for the electrical services for the NYSERDA grant. Does that does not include fixing the back light back
No.
there? That's different. That's all the
In
renew.
the attic. Lights,
with new ballasts and all that.
There is a lot of electrical work that had to be done in the attic before we could put the insulation in.
And there's more electrical work that needs to be
No,
done.
we're in pretty good
No.
shape.
Okay.
Other than, like, that
The
light
little
was
lights
fixed.
outside. Oh, that
Oh, that
was?
light's fixed?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the general maintenance electrical work we
That
may
will cover.
need, but as far as related to the NYSERDA grant, I
It's all
think we're
done.
done.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
But that one's
Because
fixed,
we replaced the light bulbs and fixed some of the
Yeah.
fixtures and,
but we still need to replace the one above the
we have
front
to decide what kind of a fixture
fixture.
you want.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
that's all right.
I will say yes.
Yes. Councilman Haas.
What's the increase in playgrounds, rec, personal services for 43625?
They went over their budget.
So is that's for Sean or
Joel.
Joel? Okay. Yes.
Councilwoman Rima.
Yes.
And Councilwoman Supervisor Flood.
Yes. Resolution number 71 of 2012, whereas Section 6C of the General Municipal Law authorizes the governing board of the town to establish a capital reserve fund for the financing of all or part of the cost of construction, reconstruction, or acquisition of a type of capital improvement, or the acquisition of a type of machinery or equipment, and whereas the town board finds that the acquisition of highway equipment and machinery is necessary and appropriate to facilitate the continued proper functioning of the town highway department. It is hereby resolved that pursuant to Section 6C of the General Municipal Law, the town board hereby establishes a capital reserve fund, the fund to finance all or part of the cost of the acquisition of highway equipment and machinery to be used by the town highway department. And it is further resolved that the town supervisor is hereby directed to deposit the following sums in the fund, $30,000 being the sum included in the fiscal year 2012 budget for the purpose, and such other funds as may be directed by the town board in any subsequent duly adopted resolution. And it is further resolved that all the sums deposited in the fund shall be held in a separate bank account to be known as the Highway Department Equipment and Machinery Reserve Fund. And it is further resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to invest the monies of the fund from time to time as provided by the general municipal law. And it is further resolved that no expenditures shall be made from the fund unless that expenditure has been authorized by the resolution of the town board duly adopted in accordance with Section 6C of the general municipal law. And it is further resolved that the resolution shall become effective immediately. The foregoing resolution was voted upon with all councilmen voting as follows.
Supervisor Flood.
Yes.
do we have a
I
motion
think
and
we
a
need a
second?
motion, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I
I'll make-
second.
Oh, we're missing it on our sheet. Okay, the motion,
I'll make the motion.
okay.
And I second.
And a second.
I just want to get a clarification that this capital reserve fund could actually be used for the cost of construction, reconstruction, or acquisition of a type of capital improvement such as a highway garage improvement, or the acquisition of a type of machinery equipment. So I read it as machinery equipment or a capital improvement, such as a highway garage, but maybe I'm reading this wrong.
Isn't the capital, I mean, if,
The,
for property though, isn't that,
No,
that's
That's
a general, yeah, that's
Yeah,
a general
the-
fund, even if
yeah,
it's a
that's
highway
general
garage,
fund,
right?
yeah.
no, it could be for a specific purpose, but if you're saying that it's for highway equipment,
Then that's what it's
that's
for.
what it's for, not for,
So this
Highway garage.
is establishing for highway equipment only. Okay,
correct.
just want to be clear.
Does anybody, Bill, how much is in that fund already? We got 30,000 this year and.
I think there's another 30, right?
This
I
is
think
our
there's 60
first,
total.
isn't it? This is our first
I think
30,000.
it's 30 for this year, 2012, and last year I think we had 23 or 27.
Yeah,
We took some of that
right.
money from the roller,
Right.
and this 13.
Well, last
61.
year's, I don't believe last year's was put in the fund. Isn't this to put both of them in? It said 30,000 included in fiscal year 2012 budget.
It should be
Is the
one
resolution for
I think there's
both?
another one,
for 2011.
I think that's already in the CD.
Should be.
But
Yeah.
it wasn't set up as a fund I don't think.
Oh, we can do that next month then. It's in a CD, I know that. It's set aside.
It says, and such other funds as may be directed by the town
Yeah.
board and any subsequent duly adopted resolutions. So if it,
That means to add, if we're putting in 30,000 every year, we would do it by resolution. That's what
or we
that
can
means.
also do the previous year
Right.
as well and get it all into one.
Okay, Councilman Haas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Parodi,
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle,
Yes.
and Councilwoman Reamer.
Yes.
Minutes, you one set of minutes from,
I make a motion that we approve the September,
I only found one error
oh, you found an error?
in, on the last page. It should be, Indian Rock Schoolhouse, not Indian Schoolhouse, Cool Rock House.
Indian.
Should be Indian Rock Schoolhouse on the last page. Or we can just accept it as amended.
I make a motion that we accept September 13th, 2012 minutes as amended.
I second.
Councilwoman Reamer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Parodi,
Yes.
Councilman Haas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle, and
Yes.
Supervisor Flood.
yes. Committee reports,
We have a request by Ron Gazzoli for reappointment of Vern Fish to the Board of Assessment Review because his term ended September 30th.
I think we have some other, we have other appointments also to be made. I think the Recreation Commission usually has one that rotates off this time.
Well, that'll be for next
Expires.
next meeting.
Is that the only
But
one
this,
then that we
yeah,
have now?
this is the only, well, his term ended September 30th. So we can,
Make a motion.
I would
So he-
suggest that we open it up as a general policy to anybody who wants to do that, and I would be willing to submit a press release that says that we have an opening, and,
we have an opening on the grievance board
yeah,
for the town of Amenia.
and then make a decision at our next special meeting, or,
Well, we
I
could do
guess-
it at the next meeting.
yeah, at our next town board
I
meeting.
just
if
wanted
that's
to
all
bring it up so that we
Well,
could, we could discuss it.
We have other matters anyway.
And the other thing,
So, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm willing to do a press release for that opening, if the board is willing to solicit, you know.
In the rec committee, is there somebody out on the rec commission? Is there somebody out?
Christine Ford's up at the end of the year, and the rec commission, they made an appointment, but really it's,
they make,
and then in the essence of it, it's, they're
A
recommending that Christine Ford be reappointed for a full term.
And what would a full term be? Do we know what that?
We have to
timeframe
look,
is?
they believe that they had appointed her to a new term that was a year, so that they're appointing her for an additional 6 years. I think we have to look in and see what the date ranges actually are, because it might be a 7-year appointment. Because we appointed Chip last winter, and that was a 7-year appointment.
Why did they only appoint her for a one-year term?
I think she was filling up.
Yeah, I
filling
think
the
that's
term.
actually what it was, that she was
Because
filling out a term.
Ryan left.
So I
There
think
was
it'll
someone
probably
who
be a
left the
7-year
commission,
term.
So she was filling
And how
the term.
long a term is the Board of Assessment Review? Do we know how long we would be filling that term for?
Yeah, we have to talk to Ron and see how long that's for, because I don't know.
Okay.
It just says in here when his term ended, it didn't say the length in his request, so. so we don't have to check with him.
So does this mean moving forward, we advertise all open seats regardless if there's an interest in
Well, we always
reappointment?
have. I think,
We have?
wasn't there a
There was a
resolution
policy.
passed? Yeah, there was a policy passed several
About
years
four
ago
or
for
five-
all
4
open
years
seats.
So we advertise always, no matter if there's a recommendation to reappoint or if there's interest in reappointment or not? Okay.
I think it's a good policy to
That's fair.
open it up and let the citizens understand that there are openings when there are openings, and to be able to be considered as part of that.
Okay.
Yeah, the only other thing I had was wondering, when we were talking about changing John Fenton's title, which we agreed to go ahead with that, but the other thing he asked is about a backup person for him, should he not be available? And is that something the board wants to do? Because he has a person here that he's recommending that he's worked with.
Makes sense to me,
I think we do need a backup.
especially with some of the storms we've had,
Yeah.
and makes sense to have a backup plan.
So do you want me to make a motion to that effect, and we can vote on it? So
Sure.
we can have this person in place in case of emergency?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Okay, I make a motion to appoint Richard Travis as...
What's his
the-
name?
Richard Travis, Travis, as the backup code enforcement officer to John Fenton, should he not be able to fulfill his duties.
I second that motion.
Councilwoman Reamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Perotti?
Yes.
Councilman Haas?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Flood?
Yes. Any other committee reports?
I'll go ahead and remind people that we are really, would love to have more people turn out for our town decorating day, which is going to be on Sunday, November 25th. We're going to meet at Fountain Square at 12:30. That's right at M&T Bank, and we'll provide some decorations and some hospitality, food and drink, and we'll have a lot of fun. 12:30 to 3:30 at Fountain Square.
It's 12:30.
And then I would also just remind people that the Holiday of Lights, anybody who wants to participate in the parade, it's new this year, we step off, or we have to be in the lineup at the firehouse at 4 o'clock. And I don't know that you need to pre-register. I think you just show up at 4 o'clock with you can't just walk because it'll be dark when we set off. And so you need to have a lighted vehicle of some sort. It could be a bike, it could be a lawnmower, it could be a tractor and a hay wagon. We really want people to come out, just get battery powered lights and light up your vehicle, and you'll be part of the parade. We're going to start at 2:30, decorating both down in Fountain Square and here at Town Hall with the Cub Scouts. Victoria, were you able to get in touch with the 4-H, because they normally did the outdoor ornaments?
No, I haven't, but I will.
Okay. And we'll be doing dance exhibition at 3 o'clock. And I'd like to get the cheerleading. We bought some mats, and they have been working hard. It sounds like maybe I'll try and get them to also do a little exhibition here in the gym. So really between 2:30 and 4:30, we'll be working at final decorations and getting ready for Santa. And then Santa will arrive as part of the parade between 5 o'clock, leaving from Mechanic Street and arriving here on the circle. Santa will arrive with the rest of the floats, and the floats and everything can park at the lower parking lot here at Town Hall. And I would like the town board to approve the hiring of 2 to 3 constables. I wasn't there because of the snowstorm, Victoria, but was it decided that we needed 2 constables, or?
At least 2.
I would
to direct
recommend
the traffic
too.
in the parking
We're going to
lot.
have a major traffic issues going on here. And we said from 2:30 to 6:30, is that what I understand from my notes? And that would be money that would come out of the town constable's line, and Dawn Marie assured me that there was enough money in that line to absorb this kind of use of the constables, if everybody's agreeable.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
So Vicki, you're making the motion?
I'm making the motion that we approve the use of 2 constables from 2:30 to 6:30 on December 8th to help with parking.
I'd second that.
Once we're all here at the town hall, we're going to have treats. We're going to ask the restaurants to help participate. Thank you, CJ, for already being our first victim, and it'll be very fun.
Don't thank me, I'm not doing the cooking.
You're not? Okay. And thank you, Marilyn Noe, for running around and getting raffle prizes from the businesses and those restaurants who are willing to participate. We're looking for finger food or some kind of sampling of your fares, and we'll make a little card so that everybody who comes to the town hall at the end of the parade would see who donated what and what kind of, so we would really looking forward to that. We're also looking for people who can bring baked goods or finger food of any type. That would be great, and Marilyn Noe is going to coordinate that hospitality table. The library is going to be sponsoring the Santa workshop here in this town hall. So that'll be free gifts, and we'll have caroling at 6:30 and the tree lighting at 6:30. We do need to choose a Citizen of the Year for both Wassaic and Amenia, and as I understand, I think we've only got one recommendation that I know of.
I have a couple others.
Okay. But I need to know that ASAP because
Yep.
I've got to create the certificates.
Okay, we're going to vote on the constables.
Oh, we haven't done it.
No, I'm sorry. That's okay. Councilwoman Reamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Perotti?
Yes.
Councilman Paz?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Flood?
Yes.
Decorating in Wassaic?
And what we do is we do as much as we can up here in Amenia, and then those hardy souls who want to continue on, we go down to Wassaic and we'll try and do that before midnight.
Is there a start time?
There's a start time
For
at
Wassaic?
12:30. It would probably be 3 o'clock.
Okay.
As,
I think that's how it was last year.
3 to 4 or 5, yeah. It'll take us a couple of hours.
Charlotte, what time is the library open house?
At 2:30 to 4:30, and there's no Santa. Oh.
Okay. The library, the Amenia Library will be having their own open house on December 2nd.
Sunday.
Which is a Sunday from 2:30 to 4:30 for everyone in the town of Amenia and Wassaic who use the library. It's their way of saying thank you for supporting the library.
Please come.
Is that it? Oh, public comment? Oh, supervisor's report.
Just gotta. Sherry sending this stuff to the state. Couple things. The Weavertuck High School is opening up Monday through Friday from now till May 1st for walking. It can be used to open for residents to walk from 4 to 9 when days are open for the school, and custodians are in the building. There's a snow day, it's canceled, and so on and so forth. So that's all set. There's a sign-in book at the lobby, so you have to sign in so you're free to walk for a couple hours if you want. It's a good exercise.
What is the date that starts?
I think it started.
There's no date.
No, I don't have a date. I'll check with you and I'll send you an email. The landfill, I got a letter from Liz today. I just wanted you to update on where we are with things at the Amenia Town Landfill project. Last week, Thursday, Sevenson installed the additional down gradient permeable turbidity curtain just upstream of the lower beaver dam. They made an opening in the clean soil berm separating the wet removal area and near dry removal area and allowed the water from the wet removal area to flow into the near dry removal area. And they removed the soil, clean soil berms. They have excavated the landfill waste at the toe of the west slope adjacent to the wet removal area and collected post-waste evacuation soil samples, excavation, I should say, soil samples from that area on Monday afternoon, 11/12, and they're waiting for those lab results. They have continued excavating to the south adjacent to the pond for the access road, and that was completed yesterday. The water from the pond coming into the excavation site has not been an issue. There was an area where groundwater may have been encountered, and so Severson came up in the elevation for a portion of the excavation. There is no visible landfill waste, so they're out into that back area near the water. The bottom of the excavation is soft though, so we're requiring the Severson install a non-woven geotextile prior to placing the gravel backfill. They are in the process of doing that today. Sevenson also continues to decontaminate the water treatment plant equipment and frac tanks. The chipping company was on site today to chip the stockpile tree stumps. It'll take a couple of days, 2 to 3 days. The mixing of the sediment, that's what they're doing up on the top with sand, and then it also continues to dry it up the soil that came out. Sevenson started using the cement kiln dust on Monday. It's mixed with the sand at Roxbury Sand and Gravel Pit across the street before the sand is brought to the landfill site. The drums of hazardous waste, 3 total, and non-hazardous waste, 4 total, were removed on Monday, 11/12. The lab pack waste still needs to go off-site. They're going to be working all day Saturday, this weekend, Sunday also, before the weather gets bad again next week. We received a letter from Tina Constellano. It was sent to Ian. Dear Ian, the town of Amenia with well sanitation. In connection with the above matter, enclosed are copies of the following documents. 1, the DEC registration number 14R21 for solid waste management facility, and 2, November 9th, 2012, transmittal from Mark D. Brand, PG, Deputy Regional Permit Administrator, confirming the registration validation. I understand that the target date to commence operations is now set for December 1, 2012. Welch's site foreman Scott Kale will coordinate service directly with Supervisor Flood. Also, we will proceed with registration of the site as an electronic waste collection site. I could not proceed with that application until the underlying registration was approved. This second registration will authorize Welch to collect electronic waste as well. Please feel to communicate with me in any way or questions or so on. So we have the registration for the new
Under Welch,
under Welch,
not under the town.
not under the town.
Yeah, I didn't think so. We would be able to do that. So that's good.
This is the first time the DEC's ever given a
A
private
registration.
a registration for off-site facility.
Usually they require a permit.
Right, so we're in pretty good shape with that. My question is, December 1st is when? 3 weeks.
December 1st is a Saturday.
Thursday. No, oh, sorry. You're right.
It's 3:15, 1, 2, 3.
It's a Saturday.
December 1 is Saturday.
It's 3 weeks away from Saturday.
I think we'd have to do a press release of some sort.
Yeah,
so
we
that-
got to get the press out there. We
The
may have to
public
leave
would-
both of them open for a little bit, I would think.
I think we probably need to leave it open until the end of the year. Considering the holidays are here now, it'll be tough to get information out there.
And shut the other one down January 1st.
like December 31st. I mean, that's 6 weeks, so that's a good amount of time.
Let me see what we got here.
I think that, we just have to inform the public because it's a wider time that it's open and, the
What is our contract with Welsh then? Does it say we're switching over on December 1st?
No,
I think we're beyond the date. I can't remember what's in the license agreement.
It was like October.
Because we need to know what
The
that
bid
is.
was proposed October 1, which obviously,
But but when they actually start is by the registration given by DEC. So what is the date that's effective?
a good point. Is there a date in the registration?
We need to know what that is.
That's true, because at some point you have to relinquish your registration to operate at the current site.
Yeah, because we have to
You can too,
relinquish
right.
the town's registration and change it over to Welch's registration.
we don't have a registration.
I'll
Yes, we
speak
do.
to Jim Constantino.
You never had a legal registration there at all. You had a right to open it, that was it.
Well, you had
Well, they come in-
registration.
Yes, we did have registration because they come and inspect and renew it every year. So we had one under the town. But now that we're going from the registration under the town to the registration under Welch, we need to know the dates and we need to, see exactly what the registration says.
I don't have a registration
And you
yet.
don't have it? Okay. So that's, we need to know that.
I have it in the office. I didn't bring it.
It says date received 10/25/12, but I don't know if that's the date that it was approved.
No, that's not.
So that's not
That's
it.
just the
Approved
receipt
at-
date.
Right.
It was approved as of November 9th.
Right.
Um,
Oh, it was received and effective November 9th, 2012.
Yeah,
So,
but as far as how long you can operate at the old location, I'm not sure. You probably should try to move it as quickly as possible. It's,
they said they could move it in 4 or 5 hours, they'd have it out of there.
yeah.
So at this point, we also have to deal with, we have an old backhoe that's there we have to get rid of. There's some other stuff that I think Jimmy's got stored around, I don't know if it's still in there or not.
He's been cleaning everything out.
Yeah, it's still.
Ian, do you think it'd be can you find out though if it'd be a problem to leave it open for a while just so we can
Yeah, we need to
transition?
know our legal right there as far
Okay.
as overlap.
I'll see. I would imagine that, you probably should try to move it as quickly as possible to the new site, because that's what
Yeah.
the approved location is.
Well, a month should be enough, I would think, right?
I would think a sign at the transfer station.
Right, I was gonna order some signs that were
Now.
closing, right, that such and
As
such a
soon
date.
as we know what the date is.
I know Welsh just ordered the signs, they're gonna put them up soon, they applied for the permit from John to put them up.
Yeah.
They're redoing the fencing and the new driveway to get them in and out of there, so I know that's being done now.
It seems like it's not a big problem for somebody to drive a little bit further to the Welsh.
Or
It's not like they
closer.
don't
Or
have an
closer.
option.
Some of us are closer.
Yeah, well,
But I think, some people that use it may have no idea what's even going on. So that's why if we can give a bit of time, even if it's only a month.
Can we get something in the hometown, or is it too late?
it
It's too
might be
late.
possible, but we'd have to know what the date is before you get people.
Yeah. Well, we need to talk, we need to see from the DEC whether, the exact date that we can do this, and if we can, leave our own transfer station open for overlap. I think we need to find what they're going to be agreeable to, because they're really in the driver's seat here.
Okay. I mean, as far as operating at the new location, I think you can do that now, the
Correct.
approvals.
No, but we're wondering about.
How long you can continue at the old location, I'll look into that.
Could you look into
Yeah.
that? Yeah, so that everybody's on the same page.
That's it for me. Town board comments?
I've forgotten to mention, speaking of Smithfield Church, we have our Christmas concert on December 1st at 4 o'clock, and then a reception following. It's the lighting of the Christmas tree, which is always huge. It's coming from Roxbury Sand and Gravel. It usually goes to the ceiling, so it probably will again this year. It looked pretty big when I saw it today. And it's always a very enjoyable concert. Sort
Certainly
of
is.
kick off the season, put everybody in the Christmas spirit.
When is that?
December 1st.
4
It's a
o'clock.
Saturday at 4 o'clock.
I would mention that it occurred to me that, well, first of all, congratulations to Dawn Marie Klingner. I think she's going to make a really great town clerk, and I appreciate her stepping forward to fill this job. Now that the election is over and she's definitely the town clerk, in 2013, I was wondering if we would consider appointing her. I don't know if she's available, but appointing her now so that Patty could go back to her original
Well, it isn't so much appointing. She has to be sworn in and
Yeah.
take an oath, and you can't do that until January 1st.
Oh, you can't appoint her
No,
now?
no.
No, she'll
It's
take
an
the oath.
it's an elected position, and she has to be sworn in.
Huh.
And
But
that'll
you-
be
I
January
think you could
1st.
appoint
You
a
can
town clerk.
appoint somebody to fill the,
Shoes of an unexpired
till the
term.
end of
We
till the end of the
But
year.
we already did
Okay,
that, though.
so
Right.
Patty's serving as
Right.
town clerk, okay, so then, yeah, you can't.
Oh,
You could
that is
hire
that?
me.
Can't we fire her? She's- Really?
You have a 30-second notice.
Yeah, the town clerk can hire deputies, but
Right.
you don't want to, I don't think you want to
Maybe you could
get
hire, you could
incoming.
hire Dawn Marie.
You could resign.
Okay, next.
The one thing, Recreation Commission sponsors movie night once a month, December 7th. It's Polar, it starts at, doors open at 6, movie starts at 6:30. It's the Polar Express, and it's pajama night. And they offer free popcorn, but you need to bring your own drinks.
I would also mention, thinking about movie night, is that we don't really have an appropriate screen. What we have is just a small 4x4 on a pedestal, and I think what we want is to have, and we've wanted it for a while, is to have a pull-down, nice screen. CJ did a quick study on his cell phone and found it was a couple of $100 to get into that level of a screen, but I think we could use it here for presentations. We could use it also, it could roll up and be hooked. We could have permanent hooks both here and in the auditorium or in the gym.
So we were going to look at bids, get bids.
Yeah, and I
Is that
think,
something we
so
can get through state bid, I wonder?
Maybe.
Maybe we can look.
Christine was going to call Mary to look for movie night, but that is a good idea. We should have one in here
I
for
think
when there are
it's-
presentations.
Or else we go in there for presentation.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
the
if that's
reality
what it's
is
going
we
to be.
need
Yeah.
a
Somewhere.
large screen that makes.
One thing I will say, Carl
sense.
Rennie had donated, if you look, he's fixed
Can you
the,
speak into the microphone?
Carl Rennie
The steps.
fixed the steps.
Yes, I
So we'll be
noticed.
able to get a CO
Yes,
for the
out here too.
Oh, that's
auditorium,
fantastic.
and out here he fixed it. He donated his time and
Oh, I was
services.
shocked.
Wow.
They look
So-
great.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
wonderful.
So we're legal.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Very, very good news. So there's something that could go on in the auditorium at the same time as the dance expo.
We can open
at
it up
3.
now, yep.
I was
But
thinking
you-
the cheerleaders or a movie could go
Got some
on
peeling paint here and
contiguously.
there, but
Oh, there's,
it's not,
it's not really ready.
No, it's
No,
not, has
It's
it?
not quite ready. Okay, never
No.
mind.
Not quite, but
Okay.
soon. I think it will be.
Okay.
Public comment?
Any other board comments? Public comment?
Just two quick things.
2 minutes, please.
Marilyn Rowe, Amenia. Whoever expedited the floodlight being finally repaired, thank you. It's much, much better for walking around at night, etc. The other thing is, I'm a daily walker at Beekman Park, and there's trash all over the place again. So I don't know who, what employee, etc., but there's definitely needs for supervision. And as I said, if you just drive up, it doesn't look bad, but when you actually physically walk the fields, there's trash all over. It looks like it's been there from a Halloween party, and just daily it just keeps the trash situation gets worse.
That was an unauthorized use of the park. So somebody just went in there and did a party.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, people are using the park, we've got mothers with children, etc. Maybe not quite as much as when the weather is warmer, but definitely it should be addressed.
Can I just mention, Marilyn, that actually the Maplebrook School recap program goes and does trash collection all the way up Route 22, and I wonder if we ask them specifically if they, because we've used all the money, obviously, we just did a resolution to transfer funds. There's no more money for Joel or Sean.
Okay.
So now it's volunteer or the highway department or anybody. So I'm wondering if you could call, being as you have a good relationship with Maplebrook School, tell them I think it's a special program where they do collecting trash and for volunteer work. And the other thing is that maybe they would, I need some help with the singing of the Christmas carols, and I thought it'd be nice for some students to show up for that too. So those are two things, if you don't mind calling.
No, not at all.
I really appreciate it. And I think Maplebrook School has been a really good neighbor to us in many, many, many ways. And I don't think we always remember that they, when I found them out on Route 22 cleaning up just these huge stretches that they keep clean over on the Maplebrook side, I don't even think about it, but they religiously pick up trash and they're very good.
So I'll give them a call tomorrow.
That would be great.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn.
That's it?
No.
Anything else? Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
Oh, yes?
Yes.
Let's go home.